Okay, so Marilyn from the Canine School of Training, thank you so much for coming on the podcast with me today. I love your work. I think you've filled a gap that needs to be filled, and you've created something that people and their dogs and professionals can all really benefit from. It's really, really nice to see you here and meet you. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always really nice to just be able to chat to other people in the industry who, share your vision and, want to interact with dogs in a kind, inclusive way, which is what we're all about. So thank you for having me on.
You are so welcome. Did you want to tell us just about you and how you got into working with dogs? And
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's I think in some ways a traditional way that a lot of dog trainers get into working with dogs, which is we we have a dog who ends up with behavior issues. And my husband and I adopted an 18-month-old mix of bull breeds. She was absolutely lovely. And she came home with us, and within the first 3 months of having her, she was attacked by another dog.
well,
And so from that point on, she just didn't want dogs to be anywhere near her. Um, and that was very new for me. She was sort of our first dog as an adult, so I had dogs growing up.
mm,
And for a long time, I looked for the trainer that would fix her. That the trainer that was going to give me that one thing that was just going to make her fine. And I went through quite a few because even with my limited knowledge, I would be told things and I would sort of think, I'm not sure. That doesn't feel right.
mm,
Um, I don't like the sound of that. And then I was lucky enough to find some brilliant trainers and some brilliant behaviorists who I really connected with because of the way that they worked with dogs.
mm,
And it wasn't about necessarily changing her, it was about making her feel more comfortable in the world. And then I discovered there was a man trailing workshop. And Lola she was very clever. She was young, she was full of energy, and I kept looking for things that I could do with her. Um, and understandably, whenever I approached group classes and stuff, they would be like, "No, sorry, she's not suitable." And they were right. She wouldn't have done great in that situation. So I don't blame them at all. And then I heard about this man trailing workshop, and I got in touch with them and said, "Would this be suitable?" Fully expecting the no answer to come back. And they said, "Yeah, bring her along." And I was just like, "Okay, I found my people." And so we had a great time on the workshop. But then I later discovered a slightly different method of trailing that I felt suited her better. It was much more calmer, much more focused. Because I think if you have a dog that's got behavior quirks, you can spend an awful lot of your time trying to keep them calm or
mm,
get them calm or help them settle. And so I didn't necessarily want to then go and do something that kind of got her all quite
mm,
up. I said, I want to keep her nice and calm and just give her an outlet to do something natural. And yeah, I just absolutely fell in love with trailing. Lola fell in love with trailing. I started to find a community of people that I could be part of because I was 100% that dog parent wandering around the edge of a field, ready to dive into a bush. At the slightest opportunity,
mm,
you walk that fine line, I think, of trying to give your dog a good life, but also keep them safe. And it kind of snowballed from there. Um, I got really interested in trailing. I started studying dog training, doing lots of courses, and yeah, became qualified through PACT and became a registered animal training instructor with the ABTC, alongside doing all the trailing stuff. So it was always very important to me that, yes, I wanted to focus on trailing, but I needed, and still do
mm,
need that knowledge of working with dogs and understanding all the different kind of behaviors that can come to you because I think probably 90% of my customers who come trailing have got behavior quirks. So, you see it all when you trail. But it's great that
Mm,
they can all come.
yeah, amazing. How is she now?
It was so sad ending, unfortunately. She developed canine lymphoma when she was 4. So we lost her when she was very young. But she has paved the way for a number of other rescue dogs and cats to follow. So
Yeah.
he's left a nice legacy, and 2 of those are snoozing happily on the sofa. So
Ah, I'm
hopefully
so
they'll stay.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
It happens quick, doesn't it, when they get poorly, and that way I lost one
Yeah.
in that way. But she popped in, showed you where you needed to be, and decided to go home
Yeah.
again.
She absolutely. She turned our lives on its head and shook it around a bit, and thank goodness she did.
Yeah, bless her. Oh, brilliant. So I have looked at what's available trailing, and I've looked at what's available trailing here for my dog because I would like to do something similar, but there's nothing around. But when you emailed me, I had a really good look at your website and things, and that's exactly what this area needs, and what you offer is quite unique as well. Did you want to tell us about that, what you offer, why you decided to offer it, and how you think it will benefit people if they do join you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rachel, my partner, business partner, and I started the Canine School of Trailing in 2023, I think it was. And it came about because we were both offering trailing to our sort of individual customers. And then we thought, how can we give them more? And we had that crazy idea in the middle of a field of starting a business together, which once we'd gone through all the reasons why we couldn't or shouldn't, or how it might fail, which I think you do, don't you? We kind of just went, well, let's try it anyway and see what happened. And so it started very much as looking after our own customers. So thinking about the trailing and coming up with assessment levels so we could progress people, doing joint days and retreats so we could offer them more things together. And then we started to think about this is so great for our customers and their dogs. And we've got such a fantastic community building up around us, which I think has been the side effect that has surprised me the most, but is the thing I
Mm.
love the most. Why isn't everybody doing this? It's so good. And then again, we looked at the different courses that were available to canine professionals and thought, well, let's build something that we would want to do, that we would
Mm,
feel proud to offer. And one of the key things that we didn't want was the model where you buy one course, you do one course, and then you're sold another level, and then
mm,
another level,
mm,
and then another level. So before you sort of know where you are, you're several £1,000s in, and you sort of feel obligated to keep going because, well,
mm,
I've done one course. So we were very much sort of it's one and done. This is the course, this is the price. And we wanted it to be available to everybody. So when we started, it was in person, but we very quickly developed our distance learning course, which can be done from anywhere in the world that has Wi-Fi. Um, Now, there are practical elements to it. So there is homework to do. There's a final practical assessment where, you film yourself doing things and send that in to us. We do want to know that you can actually trail and trail in the right way, but you can do it from anywhere. And
mm,
we also offer 6 hours of face-to-face mentorship, so Zoom calls or video calls. So at any point, our students can say, I just want to talk about something a bit more, or there's an element that isn't quite landing with me, or even I've started with this team and this dog, but it's not, I don't know what to do with them. And, we're there. to help guide them through. Um, so it just seemed to be something that landed with a few people where they started to go, this is the type of course that I want to do. I can fit it into my life.
Mm.
Um, and then, we started to build our affiliation package and also started to talk about how you can make money with it. Because I think often we don't, as dog trainers, as canine
Yeah.
professionals. In a way, it's sort of shunned upon. Don't make money out of it. You're helping dogs, but also we're running businesses and we have mortgages to pay and we have bills to pay and we want to go on holidays and also have nice things, and it's okay to talk about that. So, we wanted to start to help people who did pass. How do you put this into your business? And at the moment, we're working on a business builder package that we can roll out to say, okay, well, you have your course now, but this is how you can best implement it into your business. This is how you
Mm.
get customers. This is how you can keep them. This is how you can make money over and above your trailing sessions. And trying to sort of remove that stigma of, uh, you
Yeah.
know, of being a canine professional and caring and loving animals, but actually also being a business person and wanting to be successful. The two
Yeah.
can, the two can run alongside each other.
Yeah. You've really touched on something really important there, and I suffer with it as well. So I kind of get it, particularly so in the ethical dog professional community. There
Mhm.
seems to be a bit of a culture of, I can't charge too much on
Yeah,
our part. And then on the part of the customer or the market or the consumer, they shouldn't be charging for that, or they shouldn't charge that much for that. And
yeah,
it's very self-limiting, and it limits
yeah,
us as to
yeah.
what we can do. Um, and yet there are a lot of people that do charge a hell of a lot, but are not as good at the job.
Yeah.
Um, and
The
and
scale seems to slide the wrong way, doesn't it?
yeah,
You find that the people who are the most experienced and the best with dogs are the ones that are charging the least often. And then, yeah,
yeah,
you sort of go, why are you charging that amount when, and what are your qualifications? Where's your experience? Um,
yeah.
so yeah, something's gone wrong somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I was the other day. I was looking at. I don't know where it come from or how it come up, but it was on Google or something. What does Graham Hall charge per session? And it's like £800 for
Yeah,
one session. And
yeah,
I'm like, does anybody need to charge that really?
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah, and people pay it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get started on him because I'll
No,
this will definitely
sorry. Well,
I've got my soapbox. Get on it.
it is a very important point because I am guilty of it myself. I give a lot away,
Yeah,
end up feeling tired, get a bit resentful, collapse everything, and then get
yeah,
myself back together and give a lot away again. And I think us empathetic people who
yeah,
really love dogs and really want to help tend to also have this idea of feeling a bit icky about money.
yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's so interesting. Why do we do that? Why do
Yeah,
those things go together? Why is imposter syndrome rife in the people that know the most?
yeah, absolutely. And I think you can still be empathetic and you still can still be fair and work ethically with people while still running a business and charging what you're worth and having policies in place to protect yourself
Mm,
and your income.
mm,
And, you know, there are times where I've had to change my own policy for my own personal business to, you know, be stricter around cancellations and people looking to change things because I still have a business to run.
mm,
I love what I do. I love that I get to work with dogs. I especially love that I get to work with dogs who maybe can't do a lot of other activities, but it
mm.
also they'll still have to wash its own face at the end of the month.
Yeah. What did you do before? You did dogs?
I worked for a bank,
Oh, wow.
so I did a lot of communications for a bank, which does come in handy because obviously when you're running a business, your communications, your marketing, you're doing everything. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's sort of a lot of this social stuff and communication stuff I do for the Canine School of Trailing, just because it's my background. But it's I think once I realized I wanted to work with dogs, I pushed and pushed until I got made redundant. So thank you very much. I will take the money
Yeah.
and go.
Brilliant. So you found your place. You found your
Yeah,
place.
yeah, found my passion.
Yeah. So what do you work full-time trailing or do you do dog training consults as well?
So now I only do trailing. So I'm out probably 4 days a week doing practical sessions, and then in between that, working on additional things for the Canine School of Trailing and having mentor calls with our students or marking homework and that kind of thing. And we also have trail retreats and we've got one coming up next week, where we go away for a couple of days and have a couple of days of trailing in different locations. And it's just a really nice way to get away with our clients and give them that chance to come away with their dogs. So we're on the Yorkshire coast next week. So it should be stunning. But yeah, keep your fingers crossed for good weather for
Yeah.
us.
Whereabout are you?
So we're based in Cheshire.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm originally from Scotland, and Rachel's sort of from Newcastle way, but yeah, we both landed in Cheshire. Um,
Yeah.
and when we first met each other and realized that we were both going to be starting to offer trailing, there was that kind of initial, oh, great, well, we're close to each other, and you're going to offer trailing, and I'm going to offer trailing, and there was how is this going to work? And Rachel actually just sort of looked at the map and went, shall I take this side of the M6 and you take the other side? And I was like, yeah, that seems fair. So it was just a
Oh,
really nice way to collaborate. And, we'll still, um, if I sort of have customers and I think actually you're closer to Rachel's side, and she'll do the same. And also now with our Canine School of Trailing instructors, we've got a lot more in the area, so there's a lot more choice for people. And we're getting more across the UK sort of as we
yeah.
speak. So hopefully there will be somebody near you soon so you can go
Yeah.
training.
Yeah. I think it would be brilliant for Darcy and for Foxy. They're both delicate little things, and because my history is like military dogs, and I did a little bit with search and rescue, and it was all very high energy, very driven dogs.
Yeah,
Um, but actually, something for little friends who aren't working breeds
yeah,
I think would be amazing. And like you, I would love to find a in-person group
yeah,
that I could go out and do things with the dogs with.
yeah,
But there's nothing really around here, but hopefully at some point there will be.
yeah. Well, Sally, if there's nothing there, like there's a window of opportunity.
You're right. I'd love to do it. I'd love to do the course, but at the moment, financially for me,
Yeah,
maybe in 3 or 4 months' time, but at the moment,
there we
I couldn't.
go.
When I can work again, I can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, we do actually, because we're aware there's still not that many instructors across the UK, and we do have a bit of a mission to get every dog trailing just because of the amazing benefits. So there is a teach yourself trailing very
Mm,
short course it's £10. But that gives you the starters so you can grab some friends, take your dogs out and just start to get the benefits of trailing and seeing what they're capable of.
mm.
I do this every day and it still amazes me. I still get excited when I'm like, they've done it. And I know they can, I
Yeah.
know they're amazing, but yeah, it's just great to see.
Yeah, yeah. So if you were talking to someone who their dog wasn't very confident, maybe they were like my dogs, they're not very confident, maybe a companion breed, and they didn't particularly need dog training per se, but they wanted to somehow enhance their dog's life and give them something of their own. Um, what would you say about trailing to that person?
So with trailing, all we're really doing is guiding the dog to find a specific, follow and find a specific scent. And they follow scent trails all day long. So all we're really doing is going, okay, we want you to find this scent, and you're going to get something amazing at the end of it. Most typically food, but for some dogs that might work better with a toy. With my own little Staffy, she just wants a hug. So her biggest reward is that social reward of finding people. She's always slightly disappointed when she finds a dog, I think. There's always a little sigh and oh, I'm just getting a baby bell. Yeah, she does it. She definitely does it for the hugs. Um, and so when we have a dog that maybe isn't that confident, what we're doing is letting them use their natural abilities. And they will already be sniffing all day long. We know that's how dogs primarily see
Mm,
the world. So we start them on very short trails where they literally just have to wander forward a few steps and find the person and be given a reward. And then we do that again straight away. And very quickly, dogs will start to go, oh, well, you smell like the thing I got at the start, and you're giving me something lovely, and I quite like this. And we know dogs are very efficient. They're very good at, figuring out how to get what they want in the shortest time
mm,
possible. And so it really doesn't take them long to put it all together and to start to follow the trail. I think where trailing works really well is the dogs are in charge. As the handler, you don't know where the trail is.
mm.
So you can't cheat. You
Yeah.
have to just trust your dog. And we say that a lot, just trust your dog. They are the ones that know. And so they get a lot of confidence from that. Because it is entirely up to them. We will just follow them. And when they're very new, they might be a bit more hesitant and stop and look at you. And all we say to handlers is just don't make eye contact with them.
Mm,
And then very quickly the dogs are like, oh, okay, I'm doing this. And they get an amazing amount of confidence from doing it. And the more that they do it, the more that confidence grows.
mm,
Um, and I actually had a dog this morning who's been doing it for a few weeks now. He's 12 years old and he was very, very nervous when he started, to the point that the handler, she wasn't going to try it with him. She was doing it with her younger dog.
mm.
And I said, look, we're in a really quiet area. Let's do him a short trail and see how he does. And he's done amazing. Um,
Ah.
and even in that short time, so today he was trailing in an urban area. There were people, there were dogs in the vicinity, there were cars going by, and he did his trail. He crossed roads, um, and it was sort of up to 400 meters with them now. And he just motors on. And it's just such a lovely thing to see from a dog that was really hesitant to even take that step forward to just be like, oh, I'm doing this now. Great. Um, and we see that all the time with dogs, and we have a lot of dogs who are worried about other dogs, who can react quite strongly to that. And I had this brilliant quote from a lady who was like, she just forgets to be reactive when she's trailing. And it's
Ah.
that confidence that they get from, I'm doing this thing, I can control what happens. Um, so we start to see when they realize that they are in control, when they see things that worry them, you start to see them handle it.
Mm,
So I think a lot of the time if you have a dog that can be a little bit reactive to different things, then you might see something that you know is going to worry them, and you tense up and you shorten the lead and you try and just get them past as quickly as possible.
Mm.
When they're trailing, the dog's out in front, and so they figure out how to deal with it. And we start to see them either they'll wait, they'll take themselves to the side, or they'll do these sort of beautiful loops or U shapes round the thing that's worrying
Mm.
them and then get themselves back on trail. But the lovely thing is they are doing it. And again, you can just see them building confidence that I have other choices to make. It doesn't have to be that I bark or I lunge. I can decide what way I want to deal with things.
Mm.
And I'm sort of usually behind them, just like sort of trying not to dance up and down because it's like, did you know that was amazing. And of course, I'm
Oh.
never filming at that point, so
Yeah.
you never catch me. It's
Yeah. It's true, isn't it? Get
yeah,
your camera out and everybody
yeah,
goes,
yeah,
everything
exactly.
changes.
Everything's fine. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh, my dogs are doing something funny. Let's film them. And then the dogs are just like, I'm sorry, what? Like, okay, fine. Um, so yeah, it is. It's great for dogs, whether they have very little confidence or too much confidence. Can you have too much
Yeah.
confidence? But you know what I mean. Dogs that sort of can be get quite giddy. Um, it can help calm them. We build confidence, and I've not had a dog come on a session who hasn't done it.
Mm.
Um,
Wow.
and some take longer than others. Every dog learns at their own pace, but every single dog has been able to do it. Um,
Mm.
and part of my job as the instructor is to make sure that I'm laying trails that dogs can do in areas that they can do it. But that's what makes it so accessible and so inclusive is that we have that ability to shorten the trails, do them in slightly different areas. We can guide people to say, well, book a session when we're in this area because that's going to be better for your dog. And, we'll build up to the busier environments.
Mm.
But yeah, when you get to that point, it's really nice to see.
Yeah.
And I get to call it work.
Oh, it is literally giving them agency and giving them agency, giving them autonomy, allowing them to carry out their natural behaviour.
Yeah,
And a lot of dogs don't get much of that in their lives. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's beautiful to see that that's what they're getting from it.
yeah.
How do you manage with dogs that um, potentially don't want to come and find the person at the other end of the trail because that person doesn't mean anything to them? Would you send their person out or?
So generally we don't. I would say in all the years I've been doing it, I've maybe had that situation once. But what we generally do in that case is I would have the reward, so the pot of food, and put it a meter or two in front of the person. Um, and the dogs still want to follow scent trails.
Mm.
Because they just enjoy it. So they'll still follow and then they get the reward and they're close enough to the person that they can go, oh, it is you.
Thank
I'm
you.
the
There's that.
um and so very quickly they just want to trail. So um there are the other little things you can do. We use gravity sometimes in that situation. So you'll lay a trail downhill because
Oh,
it's just one of those things that once you start going downhill, you tend to keep going.
yeah.
Um, And if they're really struggling, then what we can do is lay a trail back to their car.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's sort of that familiarity of I'm going back to something I know. But like I say, we very rarely come across that. Um, we will have dogs coming who can be very worried by people they don't know. And again, we will use that, put the pot out in front. What we don't want to do is create conflict in the dog where I want the reward, but I'm worried about
Mm.
coming up to the person because that's, you can often get into trouble that way where the dog could have the reward and then sort of go, oh my God, I'm with this
Yeah.
stranger. So we can create space that way. And again, very quickly, we find that the dogs realize that they're in a safe space and that these people who are hiding in bushes with pots of food are actually nice people. And we always give guidance to the person hiding. So in that situation, we will say, when the dog approaches, don't move, don't give them eye contact, wait until the handler has moved the dog away from you,
Mm.
before you make any kind of movement so that the dogs feel completely safe and there's no hands kind of coming out and at them and
Mm.
that kind of thing. And, we're not moving pots and all of that. So there's
Mm.
always ways we can tweak it to make sure that we can welcome all dogs. I've
Yeah.
never turned the dog away yet. So
I love that. I love that you because there is an element in our industry that you see which is not in the educated side of treating all dogs in the same way and expecting the same results. And the fact that you look at each dog, you assess their personality, you know what's going on for them, you watch their body language, and then you think outside of the general laying a
yeah,
trail and actually create something that's going to work for them is beautiful because it's so inclusive, isn't it? No matter what the limitations are at the point that they begin, they still get to overcome the limitations by that kind of
100%.
help.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've had dogs with bite history come on sessions. And again, we just look at that individual dog. If a dog does have bite history, we will ask that they're muzzled while they're on the trailing session. Um, and then the handler will reward.
Mm.
Um, but they still get to do it. They still get to go up to the person. Um, and, obviously we watch those situations very carefully. And if we sense that at any point the dog isn't comfortable, then, we can step in and alter things. But, those are the great moments where you just really get a dog that, maybe the world has become quite small and we get to
Mm.
start to open it up and, include them in something, but also include the pet parent as well and give them a community.
Mm.
Um, and I had a great moment where somebody arrived for their first session with us, and we always have maximum of four on a session. So it's quite small. But she got out of the car and she immediately started apologizing about her dog. Well, he's probably going to do this. He's probably going to bark. He might lunge. He might do this. And I'm so sorry. And one of my other customers went, "Oh yeah, my dog's like that." And then the next person went, "Yeah, mine's probably going to bark and lunge a bit as well." And we all turned to the last person. She just went, "Yeah, no, mine can be a bit like that as well. Yeah." And you just saw this new part immediately relax, and know that you're amongst friends here. Nobody's going to judge you. We're all going to support you. You tell us how to be around your dog, and we're going to listen because we all have dogs where, you know, they come with an instruction book as to what to do.
Yeah.
Um, so, I think moments like that is really nice. And I like to give, it's so nice to be able to give people that opportunity to come and join a community who isn't going to judge you and,
Mm.
will be there and support you and have a laugh. And we've seen lots of friendships made along the way as well that carry on, away from trailing, which is really nice.
Yeah. And what another example is of dogs coming into people's lives, taking people to places that change their lives, even for the
Absolutely.
clients, the guardians, and their dogs at home,
Yeah.
that dogs led them to something new.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. If only everyone listened to their dogs, we'd all have very different lives.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 100%. And I was chatting to somebody yesterday about it actually with um picking up on what your dogs are telling you. And there we go. Here, Tweedledum and Tweedledee come to join in to bark.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, sort of what your dogs are telling you. And I had cats first, and I was like, I swear, if you've had cats before dogs, you are better at reading dogs because cats give you no warning before they savage you. You know, they're literally like purring and being all lovely, and then there will be a slight tense, an ear flick. And if you don't pick up on that, then your hand is shredded. Um, and we put up with it from cats.
yeah.
We go, oh,
Oh.
isn't that funny? I've got blood pouring down my hand. Amazing. Maybe that's just my cats, I'm not sure. And but I think that kind of nuance, you do start to then see it. I have found a lot quicker in dogs where it's that
Mm,
little bit of tension, the ear, the head. Um,
yeah.
and I'll sometimes just sit upstairs and watch my dogs in the garden together because then they don't realize I'm watching them and I get to see, so what are you actually like when I'm not there? And how do they move and how do they interact and what do they do? Um, and then if they get a little bit carried away, I can still just knock on the window. I am watching.
Oh.
But yeah, they tell you a lot if you'll listen to them, and it's the same in trailing. They tell you a lot. We call it a blink, where they'll be walking along and they'll start to go like that. And they can do this quite far in advance, where it's like, we're going to be going right. It's right. It's right.
Ah.
Right. It's right. And then you get to a junction and the dog's like, it's right. So they pick up on these changes of directions, sometimes quite far in advance, and they start to tell you. And as the handler, you want to be paying attention to that
Mm,
because then when you get to a junction and they go, it's right, but then some dogs will still want to check out every single direction first.
mm,
But if you're like, well, all the way along this road, you've been giving me signs that it's to the right. And as we approach the junction, you've told me it's right. Therefore, I can let you check all the different directions out. And when you come back and go to the right, I can be confident to follow you. Um,
mm,
and it's getting to the point where you sort of pick up on all those little signs and you see your dog um, telling you which way it is, and then you just learn to trust them. Or I trust one of mine, the other I'm still still working on.
Oh, brilliant. And that overflows, then tip for clients, that will overflow into life. If you're watching your dog in this situation, you're going to watch your dog more in the rest of life with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And seeing how they can behave around things that worry them and when they stop and look up at you. I mentioned Lola at the start, and that's where we got to with her when we would be out and about. If she stopped and looked at me, that was her telling me there's something ahead that I'm not confident about. And often I wouldn't be aware of what was ahead, but I would be aware of her stopping and looking at me. And so then I could go, oh, yeah, actually, there's some dogs in the distance that you've spotted that I haven't. And then I could say, okay, well, let's go a different way. And
Mm,
and she then had confidence from she can tell me when she's worried without needing to shout. She could
yeah.
do it calmly and quietly and knowing that I would listen. And I think it's where why we get that with trailing is the dogs know that they're safe because we will aim to protect them from anything that worries them. Not the first time I've thrown myself to the ground to stop an off-lead dog charging. Um, and we listen to them and let them decide what they want to do. And I think when you see the power of that, you can start to think, well, how do I then give them that in everyday life as much as possible
Mm,
while still keeping them safe? And that can be a tightrope to walk sometimes when you're out
yeah.
and about. But yeah, if you can pick up on those moments where they kind of look at you and be like, I don't like this, and
Mm,
change direction, which is one of the simplest things to do, then yeah, you can start to give them more confidence that they don't have to shout and do the
Yeah.
big behavior, which yeah, is really nice.
Yeah, definitely. There's something I was going to ask, and because I'm old, I forgot what it was. So, What was I going to ask you, Marilyn? What was
I mean, I can 100% sympathize with with forgetting everything. We always have a bit of a brain game at the end of a session where we have to remember what scent articles we've used for what dog. And I'll be like, it's only an hour ago, but what did we give the dog to sniff? What did you hold? And then I'll like rummage through my pockets to see what have I got that I could have given you as a scent article. So yeah, I can sympathize with forgetting things.
Brilliant, brilliant. It's clearly your hard work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
clearly that this is how you are making a difference.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I hope so. I love it. And I love giving dogs and people the opportunity to try it and to see how amazing their dogs are. Um, and then coming up with different challenges for the dogs. How can we not necessarily make it harder, but just make it more interesting, for everybody. And when Rachel and I were in Wales on a trail retreat, and we did trails up a river. So Rachel is loves wild swimming. So she
I
volunteered.
remember that. Yeah.
I'm gonna say volunteered, but anyway, she went into the river and waded up it. And we sort of said to everyone there, look, you're probably going to get wet, but if you're up for it, let's see, can your dogs follow a trail with somebody walking upstream?
Hmm.
Because it's that sort of thing that's often seen on, TV shows and movies, and oh, the fugitive's gone into the water, so the dog
Yeah.
can't follow. And every single dog followed and found her. Every single dog. And these aren't police dogs, they're not all working breeds.
Yeah.
They're lovely pet dogs, and they all found her. Some went in the river, some went to the river edge and thought, nope, and then followed on land and
Yeah.
got her that way. And so it was lovely to see them all do it, but lovely to see their own way of going. The dogs that loved water were like, brilliant, I have been waiting forever to do this. And the dogs that weren't keen on water were like, aha, I see what you've done. It's a no from me. I'm going to go this way.
Oh,
And, and I think the fact that everybody was willing to go in and get wet if they needed to was great. So yeah, coming up with different things like that is just really nice to just see what dogs can do and how clever they are. You know, it I want to follow the trail, but I'm going to do it my way.
yeah. The one thing that when I speak to people who run this kind of class or run this kind of teaching, things like scent work and tracking and trailing, everybody has the same response when they talk about how people that they work with tend to grow a team spirit mentality. It's like
Yeah.
they root for each other, they root for each other dogs in a way that we don't often see in the world generally. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, 100%. So the water trails that I was just talking about, we found that because we said to them, like, we need people to help. So whoever is actually handling the dog will need help getting in and out of the river, making sure that they don't fall over, just generally being there to
Mm,
support. And everyone's like, yeah, yeah, that's fine. And, they all step forward to help and to, sort of be there in case they need to catch anybody. It was not required, in case our insurance company's watching this. Um, but yeah, everybody just wants the best, um, for everybody else, and will support, and we all get to know each other's dogs, and therefore you will often find that, your other customers are around with you if they know there's a dog who doesn't like particular things and they spot it, they'll move into position
I
to
love
help
that.
shield the dog. And without even being asked, it's just a natural thing. But yeah, everybody wants everybody else to have a great experience, which is why it's just a lovely way to work.
Mm.
I never come back from a trailing session annoyed. Um, there may have been things that happen in terms of general public that wind me up on a session. We'll skip over that. Or whatever my customers say, it's not true. But I always the amount of laughter, even the other week, it went from sunny to hailstone to snow to rain to sunny, and not once did anybody complain about it.
Mm.
Everyone was laughing, everyone still had a good time. And that I think just sums it up that whatever is happening, everyone just mucks in and just gets on with it and enjoys it. Um, and it's several times a week where I'm just like, and this is my job.
Oh, yeah.
Um, which is great. Definitely is nicer now the sun's starting to come out, though. I am going to say that.
Mm.
Being in the Northwest, we, we have lots of waterproofs.
Yeah, yeah. It has been a long grey winter, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
It has. Yeah.
Sunshine. It won't be too long now before we'll be into the. Is it too hot to be outside with dogs?
It won't be. I mean, 2 days ago, it was like, I can't take them out at this time of day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, both of mine are solar powered, so they sort of they love lying out in the sun, but they're both
Yeah.
also very sensible, in that they will move into the shade as and when they get a bit too hot. What's lovely is Scout will also always move her toys into the shade.
Oh, bless her.
You don't want your toys to get too hot. So that's always quite cute.
Oh, they're great, aren't they? They're
They are,
great.
yeah. Yeah. And Scout was uh Scout was a stray when we emergency fostered her at the start of COVID. She was in a terrible state, but she's trailing has just been amazing for her in terms
Yeah.
of building confidence and taking her out into the world and getting her to focus on something. And um,
Mm.
she's a staffy, so she's quite giddy. She would scavenge everything because she had this period where she had no food.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh.
and to see the progress in her has been absolutely phenomenal. And I always say about Scout now, she trails like she's giving a tutorial on trailing.
Oh.
Um, she's made me a very lazy handler, which was highlighted a lot when we got Gem. I was like, what? I have to focus? What are you doing? And Scout's even been out helping to look for lost cats.
Oh.
So she helped a lady who'd lost her cat, and the cat had been missing for 2 weeks, and Scout, helped to give a direction to focus on, and thankfully the cat was found. So, I think it's when you start to see the difference that you can make to dogs, as they come up, and even Gems. The Gems just come through adolescence, and we call him a spicy dachshund. So he's standard dachshund cross Chihuahua, um, not deliberate.
Oh, I
It's a-
really want to see him now.
And I need to send you a picture of him. Um, and because sometimes adolescents with dogs can be tricky.
Mm.
I think if we hadn't been able to give him this this outlet for sniffing, which obviously as a dachshund, he absolutely lives for following trails.
Mm.
And it just really helped us to build a bond. Because I think that's the other thing. It is a team. There
Mm.
is a job for the handler to do. Um, And there are points where you need to step in and you need to help them, and that can be either because there's lots of distractions, or we're trying to cross a road, or for Jem because there's a fence and you need to pick him up and put him over it because he's too.
Ah.
But there's always ways that you need to help your dog, and you work together. And I think building that bond with your dog when um maybe like things like Rico might have just fallen off a cliff. They're just not
Mm,
listening. They're struggling, they're having a hard time. And to be able to do something that you can go and have fun and work as a team, I just find so beneficial
mm.
to keep us, going through those times when his hormones were just through the roof.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do anything else with him. But he was like, yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
will follow a scent trail all day long.
Yeah.
Is amazing. And we hear that a lot from people as well, that we've helped to rebuild their relationship with their dog.
That's
Um,
amazing.
and people saying, I'm not sure that we would have been able to keep them if we hadn't have found trailing and found a way through some of the more difficult times with them, um,
Mm,
found the community. So I think it's fun. It is fine to just do something because it's fun. It doesn't have to have a bigger
yeah.
purpose or a bigger meaning. But there are lots of other things around trailing that mean you can really help um pet guardians and in lots of different ways and help the dogs. Which I think as a canine professional is just it's why we do it, isn't it? So
Mm,
and it's a fun way to do it as well. And I am on a mission. I think every dog should be trailing, just because it's so good for them
mm.
and also good for the person. So your dog gets those endorphins, but you do as well because your dog's just found a dog, and that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It is. And I'm kind of talking this way, but you're bringing light to a
Mm,
world where there's plenty of darkness as well, but you're
yep.
actually bringing light and lighting people up and lighting their dogs up and really, really making a difference. I hope you understand that and also are proud of yourselves for doing this. I know the business, the school that you've created is relatively new,
Yeah.
but I think it has real potential to put more of that light into the world.
Yeah,
Mm,
I really hope so. It's why we do it because I think it's we talk about it being beneficial to the dogs, it being beneficial to the guardians, and it really, really is. It's also beneficial to us as canine professionals to do this. Um, and I certainly know Rachel feels like that because she's a clinical animal behaviorist. So she often has complex cases that emotionally can be quite draining.
mm,
It can be hard to deal with that all the time. And her trailing sessions offered something different
mm,
to her to go and do and to, you know, like you say, to bring that light and to see dogs doing their natural thing and having fun and people coming together. And this is why we wanted to do the Canine School of Trailing and to bring it to more people, but to bring it to more instructors and more canine professionals as well. It's to be like, this is a really good thing to do for you. It's also good for your business. We do
mm,
see there's quite a powerful loop between maybe dogs that come for training that then start trailing, or dogs that come for trailing and then will go, oh, but also I could do with some help on this. And so you create customers that come but then stay with you.
mm,
And we keep pushing. We are still very new. And the people that have gone through the instructor course with us, um, we do get good feedback from them. They like it. They're adding it to their businesses. they're selling out sessions, super quick. Um,
Mm.
Customers just want more. And I think that sort of tells you everything. When your customers are like, but do more, then you've hit something that's good for them and good for the dog. And then
Yeah.
ultimately good for us as well. So yeah, no, I thank you. It's always nice when people appreciate what you do because I love it. And there was always a bit of a worry that, well, what if people don't? What if we start doing this and people are like, you want me to do what with my dog? So it's always really nice um, that people do get it and they love it and
Mm.
don't take that for granted. Um,
Yeah.
Whenever somebody joins us as a student, Rachel and I still cheer. We're still like,
Yeah.
"Yay!" We've never got over that. I hope we never do, because
Mm.
we're still excited that people want to work with us, and we want to work with them. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember that when we started Canine Principles all them years ago, when we would every time an email come through to say someone had signed off, it was like, "Hooray!"
Yeah, absolutely. We we do that from whether they're signing up to the course or we make and sell our own trailing lines. It doesn't, we're still just like
Yeah.
people have picked us and we don't take that for granted. And we do really appreciate it. So, and I think that keeps you wanting to do better. Um,
Mm.
we're not taking any of it for granted. But
Yeah.
yeah. World domination will come. One
It will
day.
of the gentlest kind.
Absolutely. With empathy and with lots of ethics, but we do dominate.
It's come a long way in TikTok training since everybody walked in a circle in the village hall saying "here."
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there's still some of that. Especially, we see it somewhat locally, but yeah, I think the more information we get about dogs, the more we learn about them, the more we're open to learning about them,
Mm,
and the more we're willing to move forward away from what we did in the past.
mm,
It's only a good thing. I think the worst reason to do anything ever is because we've always done it that way.
mm,
It's just, there's no basis to carry on doing something just because we've always done it that way. You do yourself a disservice, you do your dog a disservice. Um, they're so incredibly intelligent and empathetic and and have emotions.
of course I do.
And it's okay for them to have emotions.
Yeah.
Um, and I do just because I was looking at Laura Donaldson, who does the slow breathing is life-saving for dogs. She's in America and super intelligent. I mean, I'm sort of doing a course of hers and I literally had a thesaurus going out to figure out what some of these words mean. But she has a great way of talking and she really understands the dog's brain and kind of likens it often to that of a 3-year-old's child.
Mm,
And that stayed with me because I just think, would you yell at a 3-year-old child? Would you shock a 3-year-old child? Would you have a prong collar around a 3-year-old child's neck simply because they were having a tantrum or didn't understand what you wanted them to do
mm,
or had, not made it to the toilet? And you
yeah.
wouldn't.
No.
Or if you did, you would be arrested. We just
Yeah.
wouldn't put them through that. But we still will with dogs.
And fight for it. You
Yeah.
know, like really, the amount of times that people don't realize that they're advocating for cruelty while
Yeah.
also thinking that they're a good person, that the
Yeah.
disconnect with that is terrifying.
Yeah.
Going back to the 3-year-old child, um, who are a child at 3, highly intelligent,
Yeah,
often filled with humour,
yeah,
sense of humour, um, a real kind of wonder in the
yeah,
world as long as they're raised to nurture that.
yeah.
And so it's not limiting saying that a dog has the emotional intelligence of a 3-year-old child.
Oh
It's
no, no, not at
actually
all.
really
Huge.
endearing. It's massive because
Yeah,
by the time we get to adulthood, we've collected so much crap that we've
yeah,
lost a lot of the wonder that this little child has, but our dogs keep it for their entire life.
yeah, yeah.
And
And that's amazing. And I just now, I, I'm like, I want to nurture that. Um,
mm,
I sometimes say that Scout's like a toddler that's eaten a full bag of Skittles. Uh, and I hope she never changes from that
yeah.
regard. The way she'll charge around the garden with a big grin on her face, um, and then just drop and roll and leap up again and sprint off. And, it's great to just let them do that. And I don't want to control that and,
Mm,
take all
mm.
that away from her. Go and you do you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, it's why we sort of pulled our code of conduct together.
yeah.
Um, And we're really quite explicit and clear with it, as in, this is the way we will work and this is what we will not do. And we're very clear with students as well. If you are using any kind of aversive training methods or tools, then we are not for you.
Mm,
And if you sign up and we find out that you are, then you won't be able to continue the course and there will be no refund. Um,
mm,
this is how we work and how our instructors will work as well. Um, so I actually now include an equipment policy in emails that go out, because we've unfortunately seen a rise in shock collars and prong collars, especially.
mm,
And so it's very clear up front that you're still welcome to come on sessions, but not using this equipment. Um, and, I always sort of hope when people turn up who are using, that kind of equipment it's that balance between you're welcome to come and there will be no judgment, but let's chat about why
mm,
and how did you land here? Because I think there are the people on TikTok who are using it and who are bragging about it. And, they always have the loudest voice, don't they? Unfortunately. But my genuine experience with a lot of pet parents who end up using them is they've got there trying to do the right thing.
mm,
Just listen to the wrong people.
mm.
And a lot of the time there's that gut feeling of I'm not sure. Um, and so I think again, it's important not to judge. I don't know how you've got there. I don't know
Mm,
what has happened to you, to your dog, to in what situations you've been in. So let's chat about where you are now
mm.
while we're trailing. Um, in the hope that, we can influence and sort of move them onto a different path. But and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's trying to constantly be supportive and the huge thing about trailing is it's inclusive. Not going to judge. Um, no, you
Mm.
won't be allowed to bring your dog on a prong collar, but no one's going to yell at you. No one's going to make you feel
Yeah,
bad. Um, but I will talk about why you're not allowed to
mm,
bring on that
yeah,
kind of equipment.
yeah,
Um, in the hope that we move away from that kind of increase in people
mm,
using it and get back to um oh look, there's a harness.
yeah.
And I had this really sort of weird, funny moment with Jem last week. I was taking him trailing, sort of taking him to one of Rachel's sessions, and I was in a bit of a rush, and he does have a habit of on the way to the car, he will do little detours and it can take him a good 5 minutes to get to the car. And I was like, I'm just going to clip the lead to your collar to sort of keep you with me. And I clipped it to his collar and he just turned and looked at me. And it dawned on me he'd never had a lead. He's always had a harness on.
Yeah.
Literally, the look was just like, oh, so we're dragging people around by their neck now? What are you doing, human? And I was sort of like, oh, I said, well, I'm not, there's no tension. Just come on. And he was just like, absolutely not. No. It's like, okay, I'm just going to pick you up. That'll be easy.
I
But
love
yeah,
that.
it dawned on me when I was like, oh yeah, we're quite lucky we've got a bit of land here. So he's either running around naked
Yeah.
or he wears a collar, but his leads are always attached to his harness. So yeah, that little indignant look of, oh, so we're just dragging us around by our neck now.
It's
Very daring you.
I remember it hitting me probably. It's got to have been a few years ago now. And it's still, I still, when it lands with me when I see dogs and their people and things about that, you've got something around your neck and it seems like
Yeah,
I remember saying to my then husband, does it seem weird to you that we have something round a dog's neck and walk
yeah,
along with them?
yeah,
And so yeah, I agree with your little man. It's strange.
yeah, yeah. He was very much like, no, it's a hard no for me. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll stick to your harness then, dude.
Yeah, yeah. And a question that I ask everyone, if it's okay to ask it for you, we see dogs that are out and about that are just plodding through life, just getting on with it. Their body language isn't particularly joyful. Um, that they're with people that aren't really paying attention to them.
Yeah,
Um, I often wonder if these dogs they've tried to communicate, they've tried to build a bond, they've tried to build a relationship. They have tried and realized it's not accessible or available to them in their life. So they've just given up and they just go through life as
yeah.
with what they've got. And I wonder what you think about that.
I just find it really sad. Really sad. And and you see that, and then you'll see the jerk of the lead when they stop to sniff. And it's yeah, I think I don't know what we do about it other than keep doing what we're doing.
Mm,
And I always think about 'cause sort of pre-dog training when I worked in the bank and did a lot of change projects. And so I often think, right, change. So we want to change something. Um, and I think the best way that you can influence and change things is to focus on, I always call it my little bubble around me. Um, and I think if people are the people that are so far opposite to the way we work, I don't stand a chance of changing their minds.
mm,
It's not going to happen. They're so rooted in what they do and believing that that's what they need to do that you're not going to touch them. And actually, if you try to emotionally, you're going to hurt yourself.
mm,
And so I focus on the the people around me who get what I do and are fully invested in it, and the people on the periphery of that
mm,
who are maybe unsure, um, but will see what we're doing and go, well, actually, yeah, that resonates more, and I'm going to move over to that way a little bit more. And
mm,
as you move them over, the people that were on their periphery start to go, oh,
mm,
what are they all doing? And some of those people will start to move closer to the way we work with dogs. And eventually, you might start to get some of the people that are really rooted in doing things when where you maybe train dogs, 20, 30, 40 years ago or whatever, or the people that are using aversive methods and tools, and they start to see, oh, actually, what's going on over there? I'm quite interested in that. And you
Mm,
might get one or two of them. Um, but while that change is happening, you're protecting yourself emotionally so that you can keep going. Because I think
mm,
if you let too much of it in, then you you burn out and you give up. And that's no benefit to any, like we need
mm,
us out
yeah.
there. Um, and so when I see dogs like that, I know I can't necessarily influence their life, and that is really sad. But I can keep going with what I'm doing and influence as many dogs that way in the hope that I can stop other dogs getting to that point. And maybe there'll be
Yeah.
somebody who would have taken that path with their dogs who comes on a trailing session and is like, well, this is actually great fun and I like this. Um, and so I sort of go, well, that's all I can do. So I'm going to focus on that.
Mm,
But it doesn't stop it being sad. And you get that emotional reaction to it.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I just hope that we all get better and, that it happens quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
touch wood. But yeah, one
So
dog
let
at a
one
time.
dog at a time, absolutely. Let's go back to trailing before we finish. Tell me about a time, or tell us about a time where you have seen a dog get joyful when they're learning to trail. So maybe a dog that's low confidence or doesn't have that much body movement, not that much softness, not that much confidence, happiness, contentment. And then the entire system changed so the dog's actually quite joyful, relaxed, and enjoying it.
Yeah, so we had this it's tiny little dog come trailing, bit of a mix. And she was very, very worried about the world, very worried about new people. And so I think this was her second session. And I put the person that she was looking for, and she'd been very hesitant at that point. She'd been doing it, but very sort of not sure about this.
Yeah.
So I put the person she was looking for on a bench, so they were in full view, didn't want any surprises, and had the reward a couple of meters away from them. And it was on that was the first time we saw her when she was trailing. And as she got closer to the person, her body language picked up. So
Ah,
rather than getting closer to a person and starting to get worried, it was that switch round where that's my person. And so she started to get a bit wiggly. The tail was out from under undercut and was like, hi. And she ran up to her reward, sniffed the reward, then ran forward to the person, sniffed the person, and then ran back to the reward. So it was almost
oh,
like, that's my reward, but I'm just going to double check you're actually my person first.
oh,
And that was definitely one of those moments where it, you're just really happy because there's this little dog who was worried by people, but actually through trailing and only on her second session, we'd been able to switch it. So all of a sudden, going up to somebody she'd never met before
yeah.
was an exciting thing to do rather than a worrying thing to do.
Mm,
And, when you see that, it's brilliant. And,
mm,
you kind of look and you can see the handler, is just like, can't believe what she's seeing.
yeah,
And, and it all boils down to because we're letting them do what they naturally want to do.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
none of the pressure. So yeah.
Did you cry? I would have cried.
I was just smiling. I was a ear to ear grin, and cheered, cheered
Ah,
quietly because I didn't want to spook her. But yeah, yeah.
brilliant, brilliant. Okay, well, I mean, I've kept you for a long time, and I'm sure you've got things to do.
No, I mean, you get me talking about trailing, and I should probably do it all day.
It's been wonderful to spend some time with you. I will come on your instructor course as soon as I can. I will, because as you say, if it's not around here, it should be. So, yeah, I'll save me pennies. I'll save me
Yeah.
pennies up. I will. And do you have any questions at all about anything?
Just a big thank you, really, because I've been reading your books for years.
Oh, really?
Um, so, and and discovered you when we had Lola as well. And I think when you find people and you start to read and you sort of go, yeah, that sounds like a nice way to live with my dog.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
do more of that. Um, and even just recently, I bought, I think it just New Year, I bought one of your book bundles because I was like, um, it's great to just keep learning and going through
Mm,
things. And, it helps me to, yes, I'm a dog trainer, but I'm also a pet parent. And, sometimes you get so wrapped up in helping other people that you're like, oh yeah, I've got two, haven't I? I should
yeah, yeah.
um help them. And I think yeah, so I love using your books for CPD.
Oh, thank you. Um, well, yeah, it's been what I do is I'm going to pop your website underneath this video, and when I've uploaded it, I'll send it to you so you can do whatever you want to do with it as well.
Um,
Um, and I'll share it on Facebook and things, and I'll pop your course underneath as well, so people can actually go and have a look at your course
oh,
as
thank
well.
you. Thank you very much.
And the little have a go at trailing because I think they could
Yeah.
it will make a
Yeah, the teacher
difference.
staff trail. Yeah, we just sort of thought we want something out there that if there isn't an instructor in somebody's area, you know what, just go and watch this, get your dog, get a friend, have a go.
Mm,
Because it's, if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. We're not actually saving lives. You
mm,
just want to give your dog a bit of fun. And so yeah, we sort of thought let's get it out there. Let's make it as sort of cheap as possible. Um, and yeah, hopefully we'll get more dogs interested, more people interested. And our cunning plan was that people would then start to badger local dog trainers.
ah,
So they, why are you not doing this? We want to do
yeah.
this.
Yeah,
I could get them
absolutely.
that way.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time.
No,
It's
no,
been
thank you.
lovely.
Will I go and get Jem so you can see her?
Go on. Yeah,
The
please.
silver fox rescue. I think you rescued some
Oh,
silver fox
yeah,
as
but
well.
both of mine are from Silver
Yeah,
Fox.
he's
Yeah.
silver fox. So we'll go and here he is. Wow. Oh yeah. Oh, you big lump. Got somebody for you. Oh, you smell all sleepy. Who's that?
Ah, hello.
Who's that, Jem?
Okay. How long have
Who's
you
big boy?
had him?
We've had him just a couple of years now. So he was a puppy. I know.
Hello, puppy. Hello.
So we have Scout and Jem. We had to get Scout a dachshund because it was, I know,
Ah,
the only
dear.
dogs she's ever got excited about. Typical Staffy, she doesn't care about other dogs. The
Yeah.
only one she's ever got excited about when she's out walking are dachshunds.
Huh?
So like, if we ever get a second dog with her, it's got to be a little one. And he came
Yeah.
along, and we thought you were our dog.
Bless him. Yeah, I was the same with Darcy because Darcy's probably about the same size as Jem.
Yep.
But she only accepted smaller dogs.
Yeah.
So I had to get in touch with Silver Fox and said, I would like a Chihuahua, but it has to be a very, very, very small Chihuahua. And
Oh,
and they hadn't advertised Foxy because she was too cute. And, people grab at cute dogs,
yes.
don't they?
Yeah.
So they said, we've got a little scared Chihuahua. And I said,
Oh,
okay, I'll have a think about it. And she was up in Carlisle and I'm in the West Midlands.
yeah.
And my stepmom died up in Carlisle at the point that I should have been going up to see Foxy. So
Oh,
that kind of made that decision for me. And
yeah.
now
Yeah.
she's here now.
Yeah. He was in
But,
foster in Carlisle. So yeah,
oh, really?
he was born in rescue. Yes, you were. And it's Rachel's fault. So Rachel had been sending me lots of pictures of Dash and puppies in rescue. And I was like, no, we're not getting another dog. We're not getting another dog. It's not the right time. We're not getting another dog. No, no, no. And then she tagged me in Jem's post. Thank you, buddy. Oh, that's so good. And I went, oh, I think he's our dog. And I've no idea what it was about him. And so yeah, I got in touch with Silver Fox and said, look, this is who I am, this is what I do. If he comes to live with us, we will definitely be putting his nose to good use. Um, and they were like, we had a bit of chat backwards and forwards. And then they said, well, subject to home check, he's yours. So I was like, oh,
Uh,
amazing. So then I had to send his picture to my husband, who was at football, with "Are you my new daddy?" underneath. And he phoned immediately and was like, what? I said, well, if we did want a second dog, this is probably the best chance we've got at,
yeah.
work and all of that kind of thing. And I said, and he has a dash and cross, so he'll have slightly longer legs, shorter back, less health
Mm.
problems. And so yeah, that was that. He came home.
Yeah. What was his foster mum called?
Catherine.
Same as
Same one.
Foxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they lived in the same house for a
Yeah.
while.
Oh, amazing. She was
Um,
so lovely.
yeah, she's lovely. Foxy actually went into Catherine with two Dachshunds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she went into that foster, the three
Yeah.
dogs together.
Yeah.
Fancy that? What a
Yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Catherine kept Jem's sister.
Okay.
For the litter, I think there was 9 in total and only one girl.
Yeah, and
So
she.
she kept Martha, and then all the boys went to homes, and then Honey, the mum, got a home as well. And so we're all still
Mm,
in a little group, so we get to keep up with everybody and keep up
nice.
with Jem's mum, and so everybody got a good home, which is lovely. But
That's
uh,
brilliant.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're funny, funny little dogs, Dachshunds.
Mhm. I
I always
remember. Go on, you.
I was just gonna say, I always thought I was a good dog trainer until I got a Dachshund cross. Because then they're just so independent. They're used to working independently. Um,
Yeah.
that you've got to find a different way. Because he'll literally just be like,
Yeah.
you try to, oh, do you want to do a sit? And he's like, why? He just looks at you like, I don't think so. And you're like, okay, but I've got cheese here. And he's like, no,
Yeah.
okay.
Why?
Let's find another way. Or he
Bless
gets
you.
so excited when he learns a new trick that he'll run to be like, okay, let's do this, like middle. Let's do middle. And he does it once, and then he's like, okay, bye. That's it. You get one repetition.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
bless you.
But if you have a dog that goes missing, he can come and find them. So,
Yeah, that's more important than a sit by far.
yeah, I always say I forgive them a lot because they can find me a figure missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just
Oh,
crushed
it's
her.
been so nice to talk to you. I'm going to message Catherine now and say, I've met Jim.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
um,
she was amazing. She gave them such a good start in life. Um,
yeah.
I would always say you don't really know he's a rescue dog as such because it's such an amazing start there with them,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
great. So yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank goodness for
Okay.
people like Catherine.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell her I've met him today.
Oh, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
It's been really nice to meet you.
And you.
Um,
Yeah. And just if you ever did want to do the course, then just shout and we'd love to get you started and get
I do. I
more
do.
trailing.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I'll just drop you an email with the recording on and things. And thank
Perfect.
you so much.
Thank you so much.
And
Enjoy the rest of the day.
and I'll see you soon.
All right. Take
Take
care.
care.
Oh,
Bye bye.
bye. Say bye.
Bye again.
Bye.